Good evening. The time is now 7 p.m. I'd like to ask that we start the Board of Selectmen meeting for January 27th, 2025, and ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and roll call.
Mark Gagnon.
Kevin Cunningham.
Peggy Laurie.
Item C, to approve the meeting minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting on January 13th.
Make motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 13th, 2025.
And I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now it's time for public comment. Is anybody here that wishes to speak to the Board of Selectmen? The microphone over there is yours.
Plainfield, Connecticut, there on Pleasant Street. I have the codification process on the agenda for tonight. I just want to let you know that I've done the research. This is a project that Louisa Tracus had educated me on and informed me about, and it was something that needed to be done. It doesn't make any changes to any ordinances or anything. It just takes what we have, cleans it up, and binds it in a beautiful book, and then also puts it online. So any changes in the future, we just submit it to them. They take care of it. They cross-reference, make sure, they check with general statutes, they check with our charter, they check with everything. If something ever were to come up where, it needed to be changed, they would bring it to our attention, we'd bring it to the public, we'd have a town meeting on it, do the whole process that we would typically do. Moving forward, the initial amount would be the amount to get it started, which I have in the dollar fund. Moving forward would be just like onboard. I would budget for it each year, and then it's available online. It's a searchable document, and I think it's something that the town is, it would benefit the whole of the town as the ordinances change in the future. This is a very easy, nice, clean way to keep it organized. We don't have anything like that at the moment. You've done a lot of work with it and getting it to where it's at. And now that it's there, we can preserve it and keep it organized and nice and moving forward.
Diane, a question. Would any new proposed ordinances, would they look at over before we do them, or?
I think it would be up to the town. So any new ordinances would go to the town, just like a normal procedure. Once it's passed, then we would submit it to them. They would tell us which page it's replacing, to remove it, to add it to our books. We would get 2 books. I would have one at the PD, one here at the town. So that would be a hardcover, so a real book. So and I do have I have residents come in asking me for one, and we don't have one to provide. I was talking to Louisa, and she's like, we try to pull out old ones and new ones, and they're all over the place. We don't have a nice document, and it's needed. That's why it was on her radar. She shared that with me, educated me on it. I went to conferences all last year, meeting with different people in different towns, and Sterling has it, Griswold has it. It's a really nice feature. We do have enough money in the dollar fund to cover it, so it won't come out of, any other places, but I really think it's something that the town should consider.
Thank you, Diane. If possible, when we do bring that up, I would ask questions from the board to you, if that's okay?
Yes. And I was thinking that we could also invite General Code here to present with need be, so that you can understand what the whole process is.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else from the public wish to speak at this time? Hearing none.
I'm not sure how this works since this is our first time coming here, but we came here to ask for an exception for something.
Yep, I think what you're looking for is a sewer, WPCA, and that's the next meeting.
Okay.
And there'll be public comment, and we can interact at that time.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none. We don't have any old business. Go right to new business F1. F1 has a consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $949.16. Vault Trust, $394.80. Hyundai Leasing Titling Trust, $85.84. Hyundai Leasing Titling Trust, $144.32. Hyundai Leasing Titling Trust, $311.61. Pava Colonna for $12.59. Grand total should be $949.16.
Make a motion to act on the tax refunds in the amount of $949.16. $49.16.
And I'll second it.
Motion's been made in a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 2, which is the codification. Discuss and approve of codification services provided by general code in the amount of $13,750, and that action would request a bypass procurement policy as there is no other companies and receiving quotes from anybody else. This action would have funding available from the town clerk's dollar fund. You said something about having someone here to help and present, to give the information.
Yeah, we could.
Who was that person?
It's the same guy we met with. I have to look at his name. I don't have a, I want to see Zachary.
First name Zachary.
Zach?
Yeah, Zachary.
Dumont.
But I can reach out to him and see if he
Okay, I would, this time I would entertain a motion to table this item so we can get Zachary here at a possible future meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody
Make a
want
motion to table.
a motion? Art?
Second.
Peggy? And further discussion, other than I appreciate your looking into this, I think we need to know a little bit more about these ordinances, what is not going to affect anything in the town charter. Those are the questions that I would have for Zach.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's just going to keep all the work that's been done, and now moving forward, we won't find ourselves in a mess.
And a good definition for codification from the person doing the work. Okay, appreciate that. We have a motion and a second to table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 3, discuss the possibility of forming a capital strategic planning committee. So that's number 3. Give you all a copy of that? Okay. Code. All right. So I first reached out to the superintendent and said, in light of everything else going on, I would like to see that we talk about a 10-year capital plan. Right now in the town of Plainfield, we have a 5-year capital plan that talks about just capital items. And yes, it is somewhat intense, but I think this is probably the best way to go for going forward for offering an opportunity for the Capital Strategic Planning Committee. As you can see what the scope of work is, trying to assess long-term planning for all buildings. I can give an example of one. If we are talking about the future of the town Plainfield Police Department, the age of the building, what has been fixed so far, what needs to be fixed, so the cost evaluations are done, looking at how to do bonding strategy. Because if you're looking at, right now, this year, we could be looking at putting together paperwork for a 2026 bond for, I can throw it out there, the Board of Ed has HVAC and roofing issues. That was about $9.4 million for that. There was adding 5 classrooms onto Shepherd Hill, anywhere from $3 to $5 million for that, who knows. If we were to not vote to sell a building for the ECC building, and we had to do upgrades to that, if the public wanted to have that as a town hall, what's the cost of bonding for that? Along with all the other buildings that we have as our assets, putting that forward to understand what is the priority list, how do you communicate with the public as to how that goes, what do you do for the upgrades? And inclusive of that would be, you're still looking to do your 5-year capital items along the way. So I think a 10-year project would be a way to go. Obviously, the superintendent, I started him off with an idea, he came back with something like this, and I think it's a good idea. I spoke to the chairperson for the Board of Education today. She called and was not able to make this evening, but she said that this would definitely be something that we'd be looking to do. If you had a chance to read through, if you have any questions, I can relay that back to the superintendent, we can talk about it, but I think it's just a conversation starter piece for right now.
I'd like to read this letter into the minutes just so that everybody understands what we're talking about completely. Recommendations for a formation of a Plainfield Capital Strategic Planning. It's addressed to the Board of Finance, the First Selectmen, and the Superintendent. The subject is a proposal for establishing a capital planning committee. The objective is to establish a capital strategic planning committee tasked with evaluating the current and the future needs of all Plainfield buildings, developing a 10-year comprehensive capital improvement plan, and ensuring informed collaboration. Some of the scope of the work is building an assessment and long-term planning, conduct through evaluations of all the municipal and educational buildings, develop a prioritized long-term 10-year capital improvement plan, recommend actionable next steps to address maintenance, upgrades, and new projects, bonding strategic and financial planning, develop a comprehensive bonding plan to balance fiscal responsibility with infrastructure needs, provide clear and transparent communication to the public about the planning process and the key decisions, ensure the community becomes an informed and active partner in the decision-making. The committee composition to ensure the comprehensive and balanced approach, the committee should include the following: elected officials for the Board of Ed, the Board of Finance, the first selectman to represent the municipal leadership, the superintendents of schools to address the educational infrastructure needs, additional stakeholders as needed to represent the public interest and technical expertise. We believe a collaborative approach is essential to bringing together key stakeholders and creating a unified vision for Plainfield's infrastructure development. Proactive planning will reduce the need for reactive decision-making by establishing a long-term strategy while fostering public trust and encouragement through transparency, community partnership. Additionally, efficient resource allocation will ensure funding and resources are directed toward prioritized projects. The establishment of this committee is critical toward achieving sustainable development for Plainfield's infrastructure. Sincerely, the Plainfield Board of Ed. That's what we're looking at.
Yep. So far, do you agree that this is a good starting
I think
point
it's
for
an excellent
discussion?
start.
Okay. I can definitely continue this with the superintendent, and then we'll go from there to the next.
Are we going to keep the Board of Selectmen involved?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Item 4, executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 1206B for the purpose of discussing strategy and settlement negotiations related to pending employment litigation or claims. So I need a motion to go into executive session.
Just the three of us.
Just the three of us.
Make a motion to go into
Second.
executive session, Board of Selectmen.
Second, and all in
Yes.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Take your votes. We'll talk about this.
Entry into that business, but they can get for the roof
Okay, the time is now 7:32.
Make a motion to come out of the executive session at 7:32, no action taken.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're now out of the executive session. Item 5, to consider and act upon a motion authorizing the use of $20,000 as a portion of settlement proceeds needed to resolve pending employment litigation or claims.
Make a motion to authorize the use of $20,000 as a portion of settlement proceeds needed to resolve pending employment litigation and/or claims.
And I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 6, consider and act upon a motion to request the Board of Selectmen to consent to PERMA of full and final settlement of pending employment litigation and/or claims, and authorize the first selectman, Kevin Cunningham, to execute the settlement and release agreement to resolve the pending litigation.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item G is other. We have no other as of tonight. And item H for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. It's time is 7:33. Writing to WPCA. I'd like to call to order the WPCA meeting for January 27th. The time is 7:33. Roll call.
Art Gagnon.
Kevin Cunningham.
Peggy Boring.
Item C, approved minutes of WPCA meeting dated December 23rd.
The only correction I saw
Yep.
was under old business. You added for item 2 to be added to the agenda. Well, I motion. It says it was seconded by Peggy, but I think it was you.
Okay, yeah.
Kevin motion, seconded. With that correction, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 23rd, 2024.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. If you wish to speak at this time, you can go to the microphone and give us your name so we'll be on the recording.
My name is Cora Matos. So we purchased our home found that there was something wrong with the sewer, with the septic tank. So they gave us a quote, DrainWorks gave us a quote on the septic to replace it. But it was never disclosed to us that there was like an ordinance where we had to connect to the sewer system. So now that we tried to get the permit to get our sewer replaced, to get the septic replaced and connected into the sewer, it went from us only having to pay $10,000 to now a quote of $56,000 for us to connect into the sewer system. And so that's why we came today to see if you guys would give us an exception, given the facts of the case. My husband does HVAC, and he
Well, you're putting him on the spot, huh?
Yeah. He's like, really?
Well, I told her I would help answer the questions. Not because, we thought the quote was a lot, so if anything, we wanted to see if, how far I can get the machine and do the digging myself before I hire a company to connect it to the sewer.
Okay, that's an interesting question.
And my other question is, how far is like a limit before they say, it's too far to connect to the
Is
sewer?
that written in the ordinance?
100 feet.
100 feet to the road.
It's 100 feet.
Yeah, we're all hungry. We're on a cliff, and that's the other thing, we're on a cliff, and it's all rock, buildings, so.
nowhere near the street.
I would love to be connected to the sewer, we had it free.
I'm glad you said that.
But
All right.
It's a big difference.
Your item is up on the agenda. It'll be next up. If we have any other questions, if you don't mind, we may ask.
Sure.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you for listening to us.
All right, we do have any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, we have no old business. We'll go right into the new business and discuss and take action, possible action on an appeal from a previous ruling. I think, well, the minutes kind of speak for themselves, but I would have to actually take this to discussion with our building, sewer, zone. Because I want to make sure that if the request is to do a majority of the work yourself, that it would be allowable, number one. Under whose certification, number two, because you have to have it verified and certified. So I think at this time, as long as you're okay with it, I would entertain a motion to table this so we can have those meetings to figure out what we could do together. If it's a no, you have to understand it's a no and why it would be a no, so you at least understand. So I think it'd be workable if we actually sat down and talked, if you don't mind. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to table this.
I'll make a motion, we table it.
Second.
Further discussion.
Okay, motion's been made by Peggy, seconded by Art. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and we'll reach out to you to see if we can get some connection and start talking about it. Okay? Item number 2, to consider and act upon a request from the WPCA for this board to consent with PERMA's full and final settlement of pending employment litigation and/or claims, which includes a payment of $20,000 of WPCA funds. And the first selectman, Kevin Cunningham, was authorizing the Board of Selectmen to consent to the town on behalf of PERMA's full and final settlement and said pending employment litigation and to execute the settlement and release agreement to resolve the pending litigation and/or claims.
Make a motion to act on this request.
And I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
There is no other item, so I can entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I just want to make sure we can exchange information.